Well, good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on how to improve your stock management and profits. Just like to introduce myself today. Sue Hurst is my name and I'm a co-founder and director of CAD Partners CFO on Call, and joining us from New Zealand is Gareth Berry from Unleashed Software. Today, as an attendee, your microphone will be muted, so if you would like to ask some questions, you can do that by using the panel on the right-hand side. So if you want to type your question into the panel and then press send, and we'll handle those questions for you probably towards the end of the presentation. So before we get started, I'd just like to tell you a few words about CFO on Call, who we are and what we're about. So we're a team of 60-odd financial controllers and CFOs throughout Australia and New Zealand, and what we're focused on is profit and cash flow improvement for small business owners. And the way that we achieve that is by helping business owners to make sure that their products and services are priced right. And a large aspect of that is knowing whether your products and services are actually costed right. So having a really good understanding of the true cost of your product or service. And overheads management, so making sure that they are not getting out of control and eating up your profits. Debt collection management, so helping you to get that money in faster, and we have some really fantastic systems to help you do that. And stock and job management, so again that can have a big impact on your working capital situation. So we've got great systems, and you're going to see one of those today for helping you to managing your stock. Accurate and timely reporting, so that you know exactly where you stand every month or quarter throughout the year, not just at the end of the financial year. And budgets and cash flow forecasting for yourself as well as for your bank. And if you are looking at expanding your business, what if scenarios and goal setting. So helping you to see whether business ideas that you want to implement are viable and sustainable. So the benefits of Unleashed online inventory software. Well, it's very easy to use, and you'll see when we start to have a look at the demonstration how easy it is, and bulletproof, being in the cloud. It's very secure, so your data is kept in a very secure location. There's no installation of software, no upgrades necessary or any maintenance. You don't need to do any backups, so there's no costly support plans for any of that. There's no big software upfront cost. You just pay a small amount each month. You've got easy access anywhere, anytime. So this is probably the biggest benefit of cloud commerce software, so that the business owner, accountant, bookkeeper and advisor can all access this information once they're given permission to do so by the business owner. So and easy data entry. You'll see when we have a look at the demo how easy it is to get data in there, so it's a real time saver and then money saver in terms of staff time in putting information in, and provides real stock management clarity to you, so you can see exactly what stock you've got, how profitable stock items are. You can see the true landed cost of your products, and that's really helpful for you in terms of margin maintenance and making sure that you've always got a good handle on how much profit you're making on your products. So at this stage I'm going to hand you over to Gareth, who's going to start the demonstration. So welcome, Gareth.
Thank you very much, Sue, and welcome everyone in Australia that's joining us today. My name is Gareth. I'm the CEO of Unleashed Software. I'm going to spend the majority of today going through the actual demonstration. I just want to start with letting you know a little bit more about what Unleashed is. So Unleashed is an online inventory management system that links in directly with Xero for businesses that are buying and selling goods and needing to manage a manufacturing or supply chain process and distribution process. And Unleashed is a really good system for people to be able to do this in. And now you can see from the slide here, Unleashed is just a component of a complete SaaS solution. So Xero is the online accounting system, which we link into. We'll take care of the inventory. There's a whole lot of other components which may be relevant to your business. For instance, payroll as an example, smart payrolls there. Or if you're selling goods online, maybe you'd like a Magento e-commerce website, and you need that integrated with inventory to manage the supply chain and distribution, and obviously maintaining the financial data by integrating directly with Xero as well. So there's really three methods of selling goods, if you like. If you're an inventory-based business, you can sell them online through an e-commerce platform. You can sell them offline if you're a business-to-business type scenario. And that's where Unleashed and dealing directly in Unleashed fits really well. And within that as well, you could also manufacture goods. That's taking components out of stock and building a finished product. And that's also what Unleashed caters for very well. The other method of selling could be through a point of sale if you're a retail type outlet. And in that respect, Vend point of sale is another online component which integrates with Unleashed. So you can see from this diagram here, to run your business in the cloud it's an absolute possibility now for businesses, and this is the model which businesses are moving to, away from the installed pieces of software such as like MYOB and the Sages, where people are needing to manage all their infrastructure and network as well as their applications. In an online world, it's 100% browser-based. So all the information is available to you anywhere where there's an internet connection. And this is one of the great benefits of moving online, is the availability and the accessibility of the information, and also the collaboration, the ability to be able to share that information with key stakeholders within your business, like your accountant and other people like CFO on call that need to help you manage your business. It's all possible in an online world here. So I'd like to go through the actual demonstration with you and show you the 5 main functions of Unleashed. So that's through purchasing your goods and getting them into your store, and along with purchasing is the ability to be able to calculate the average landed price. So if you're an importer that has freight and port costs and taxes and other sorts of duties and things that you need to add to the value of your goods, Unleashed simplifies that process. It makes it very, very easy for you to be able to calculate that average landed price and keep it accurate. So you're able to manage your inventory, your turnover, you're able to produce goods through a manufacturing process, through the bill of materials, and then obviously selling your inventory as well, and then calculating your margins within Unleashed as well. So I guess the whole raft of it is, with Unleashed you're able to increase your profitability through purchasing and managing of your inventory, and then selling and capturing what your average landed cost is at the time of selling your goods as well. So quite a powerful tool there for managing your complete supply chain process. So I've just shared my screen with you, and this is Unleashed. This is the dashboard screen. It's the first thing that you see when you come into Unleashed. You're greeted with a metric and a dashboard there of your sales and your credits for the past 30 days. So you can see any open sales that you have, and you can see them here, and also your completed sales in the last 30 days. So at a glance, you can see what your sales values are like over the previous 30 days. As well as looking at your sales information, sales margin is very relevant to businesses. So you may be turning over lots and lots of inventory in revenue terms, but how much money are you actually making? So at a glance you can see here that I've turned over $1,885 in the last 30 days at a margin of 34% there, to give me a gross margin of $1,024. So you can actually see what your bottom line is at a glance just from the dashboard here. You can also monitor individual transactions by day, or grouped up by day there, in a graph there that shows you the last 30 days. You can also see your purchases and all the purchases that you've raised over the last 30 days, and also your stock on hand. So you can see what your total stock on hand is for the last 30 days. You can see here that I've got 3 products there at $2,239 is my stock on hand value. So that's my current stock on hand value, and you can derive KPIs and various other metrics from knowing what the value of your stock on hand is at any given time. Okay, now I'd like to start the presentation by showing you some of the outputs. And one of the main outputs that you would have in any business is to know sort of how much money you're making. And the best report to get that sort of information out is a margin report inside of Unleashed. So inside the margin report, you can select a date from and to date there. So we'll just select the last 30 days. And hit run there, and that will give us every single transaction that we've sold within that specified period of time. So with this margin report, we can see a lot of key information about our business, as well as every transaction listed there, and being able to preview every transaction. We can see what the cost of those transactions are, what the sale price of those transactions are, and really this is the key metric here. We can see what the margin percentage is, and also the real dollar value of margin there as well. Now if we scroll down the bottom, we get the aggregate of all that information. So that we can see since the 14th of August, I've had 9 transactions in total, a total turnover of 1,875, my profit at 54%, which we saw on our dashboard there, and our total profit figure there as well. So that's the sales margin report, and you can group this and you can filter this report any which way you like. If you're only interested in a particular product, as an example, you can say, I only want to see all transactions of my animal shapes box set there, and you can see I'm having a look at that information there on this margin report. So at a glance, everything's available to you pretty much at your fingertips. As well as the margin report from the sales side, another key report is the stock on hand report, and that gives you pretty much a snapshot of your entire business and everything you need to know about all your inventory items at this point in time. Once again, you can filter it by warehouse, product group, or even a product code if you like. But from running it just as at today for everything, I can see, well, these are my 3 products with which I have stock on hand, and my total value of stock on hand there. And you can see that's broken down by available quantity, my average cost of these goods, and also the total cost, which is just basically just your average cost multiplied by your total stock on hand, or your quantity available. So you can see the stock on hand report there, giving you some key information about your business. Now, I keep talking about the average cost. So where do we get the average cost from? If we go into a list of all of our products that we have set up here inside of Unleashed, so you can see I've got a few products there, and I'll just go into my animal shapes box set there. So double click on that, and when I talk about average cost, I'm talking about this average landed price, which is a calculated field based on the fact that the cost of your goods will vary over time, and that could be based on obviously the difference in maybe changing suppliers, or the different costs from suppliers as they change, but also adding on costs like your duty and all those other things. And that's where the power of Unleashed really comes into its own. Is the ability to be able to create purchase orders and then add those additional costs, so that that average landed cost, as it changes over time, you're able to monitor that and calculate average or accurate margins from that. Now, from the demonstration perspective, what I'd like to do is go through that end-to-end process with you and show you a purchase order, a costed purchase order, receipt that, and show you that information flowing through the accounting system that I've got set up here, being Xero. And then from that, showing you the changes or the effects on average landed cost and the margins when we go into a sale at the end of the day. So let's go and raise a purchase order. So simply click Add to create a purchase order. Select your supplier that you'd like to purchase from. Unleashed is full multi-currency, so you can see here I've got everything set up in US dollars. And I've also got multiple warehouses installed. Although I've only got the one warehouse set up, you can have an unlimited number of warehouses set up inside of Unleashed as well, giving you the ability to be able to transfer goods from warehouse to warehouse, and also do things like consignment stock. The number of Unleashed clients now that are doing consignment type stock and using the multiple warehouse function for that. So down here, if we add some lines to the purchase order, I'll just click my mouse in there and start typing, and a list of all of my products will come up that meet that incremental change as I start typing, and I'll just purchase some animals, and let's say I'll purchase 100 animals. Now you can see the average price here is $1, but let's say it's changed and I know now it's $1.20. So I'm going to purchase 100 animals at the price of $1.20, and I'll add that to this particular purchase order. Now I can add as many lines to that purchase order as I like. There's no limits to the number of lines that you can have, but I'll just keep it simple and just keep it to that one for the purposes of this demonstration. Now I can do a few things with this purchase order. I can save it. If I want to do a requisition type mode where I want to add to it over a period of time, then I certainly can do that just by saving that and parking that purchase order, or placing it if I'm wanting to send that purchase order to my supplier. So once I've placed that, I can then email that off, or I can print it off, or a PDF automatically gets created for that particular purchase order as well. And this is the purchase order that is created by that PDF. So you can see I've got my logo at the top, and so that's customizable option with an Unleashed, is being able to put your own logo on there. The purchase order is created with today's date, the delivery details, if I've got them all set up there, and all the lines that I'm wanting purchased, with a few comments and details to my supplier as well. So for all intents and purposes, that purchase order has now been sent to my supplier, and I'm waiting for that purchase order to be fulfilled. I'll just go back to my dashboard and I open up a new tab here just to show you my dashboard. We can see now that purchase order that I've just created is now added to my dashboard, and I'm waiting for that purchase order to be fulfilled. So let's just imagine that some time's passed and I'm going to fulfill that purchase order. We can see purchase order number 2 there that I've just created, and I want to be able to add some costs. So what are some costs that I might need to add to this particular purchase order? First of all, I need to choose a supplier of where those costs might have come from. So I'll just select a different supplier. So this might be a freight forwarding company or something like that. And then I need to add those costs on here. So some freight might be a good example. How much freight did I get charged? Let's say I just got charged $100. Is it taxable or is it non-taxable? You've got ultimate flexibility by choosing whether it is taxable or non-taxable there. And adding things like the cost date and the reference, I'll just go A123 or SA123 there, and any comments that you want to add to this costing line as well. Now when I click add, those costs, or that cost of $100, will get distributed, or it gets distributed normally across all of your lines with which you're wanting to distribute those costs against. It seems I've just got the one line there. You'll see that $100 get added as a cost value onto that particular item. So I'll add those $100 on, and you'll see here now I've got an additional, well, because I've got 100 units and I'm adding $100, I've got an additional $1 per unit that I need to add onto this particular product. So the unit price with which I was purchasing it for was $1.20, but because I'm adding all these costs onto it, the average landed price now that this order will get fulfilled at is actually $2.20 there. So you can see how easy that is. Now in other systems, to do that sort of a function, it's usually quite laborious, and quite often it's held outside of the system. With Unleashed, it's nice and easy. You can simply do that and add those costs to your goods at the time of receipting and costing. And it don't have to be at the same time either. Now you can add as many costs onto that as you like. So you're not just limited to the one or the one supplier for that matter. You can add as many different suppliers and as many different costs as you need to add to this particular purchase order. Another example of adding costs on is where people are adding things like labour costs, if there's sundry labour on there, or other costs or tax type costs, where you need to add all of those sorts of things on there as well. So there's lots of different options and reasons why you'd want to add additional costs onto a particular purchase order. Okay, so we'll complete that purchase order now. And the only thing left to do then is really to receipt those goods in. So once I've added the costs in, I want to receipt those goods in. And you can see here I'm going to be receipting the 100 units of my animal box shaped sets at $2.20 there. And really that's pretty much all I want to do. So I'll receipt those goods in now. Okay, now I've receipted those goods in, so that's obviously affected my average landed cost now that I've done that. So if I go back to my products and I just have a look at that animal box shaped set product again, and we'll have a look at the costing of that particular product and see what that's done. Okay, so from the product entry screen here, we can see my animal box shaped sets. I've now got 168 on hand, so I obviously had 68 there prior. Now my total stock value is $288, and if I click on the price tab, you can see that my average landed price now has been recalculated to $1.71, exactly as we would have expected, and our last cost is also captured there at $2.20. This is really the important part of managing an inventory system, is knowing how much your goods cost you so that you can then derive how much margin you're making at the other end. Now, over time, as those costs change, you want to be able to monitor them and see all the different transactions that make up all that average landed price there. And once again, we make that process very, very easy inside of Unleashed. If we go into our purchasing module now, and we look at our inquiries, and we look at a cost analysis inquiry, and we'll look at a cost analysis inquiry for those animals. So we can see the cost analysis inquiry here. So we've got our animals there, and we can see the purchase order, so it gives us the reference, so we can say on purchase order 2, which we just created there, we received 100 of them to give us a new on-hand quantity of 168. The unit cost of that purchase order was $2.20, just as we purchased. Now, we had a pre-average cost of $1, which we saw previous, to give us a post-average cost of $1.71. So you can see there on this analysis inquiry, over time, the more information or the more things that change, the more transactions you'll see here, and you'll be able to see a running total of that post-average cost to see all the transactions that are affecting that post-average cost inside of Unleashed. Okay, because we've done a purchase order as well and we received that in, we've just increased our stock on hand, and we've also created a creditor invoice with which we need to pay now. So if we go inside our Xero system and log into there, because I've just been logged out. We go into our accounts payable. We have a look at the drafts. So look at the draft journals inside of our accounts payable. Now we can see a few things here. We can see the purchase order number 2, and we can see it there twice. The purchase order 2, Aurora Trading, was the supplier with which we wanted to purchase them off, so that's great. You can see that we've purchased 100 units at $1.20 there, and we're increasing our account stock on hand. So when we approve that now, we will effectively increase our stock on hand by $120 and also raise this invoice to go into our awaiting payments now for Aurora Trading. So once again, Xero will take care of the payments side of this transaction. We look at the accounts payable. The other draft was the costing. So the costing was actually done to Bastian Incorporated, because we changed the supplier for there, and you can see the $100 that we added as a cost to this purchase order. But once again, it's also increasing our stock on hand, exactly as you'd expect, because this cost affects the average landed cost of these goods. So the journal is automatically created, and the accounting, the integrity of the accounting data is maintained with the Unleashed and Xero combination there. So we improve those. And straight away, you won't be able to see this, I suppose, but just to show you the balance sheet, our stock on hand and our balance sheet will have increased by the value of that transaction. Ignore the numbers here because I've got obviously a demo environment that I'm integrating with many different systems, but for all intents and purposes, that's our new stock on hand value in our balance sheet based on that purchase order that's just been created. So we've created a purchase order there. Now we've got a whole lot of goods in stock. All that's left to do really is to manage those stock. So we've got multiple warehouses, so we can transfer stock. We've got a cyclical count there if we want to be able to go out and count stock. We can also do a stock adjustment. So if you needed to do a stock adjustment for any particular reason, maybe you needed to adjust the stock quantity or the stock value, then you can do that inside of Unleashed as well. So if we go back and we just use our animals as another example, We can see the average landed price is $1.71 for our animals. But what if we say, well, whoopsie, a whole lot of our animals that we stock received, they're actually dead and they're no longer of use to us. I need to write some off. Let's say I've got a couple of them that have died. I can -2 here and complete that stock adjustment, and that'll straight away, that'll get rid of those 2. So now I've got 2 less animals in stock by simply doing a stock adjustment there. So you can see it's quite easy to adjust things or quantities. It's also available to be able to do stock adjustment values. Sometimes you need to adjust the value of your stock for whatever reason. If you need to do revalue your stock, we can do that inside of Unleashed as well by doing a value adjustment through the stock adjustment screen. So we have a look at our stock on hand report again. I'll just run it as at today once again, and we can see what our total stock on hand is as at today. So we've got 166 animals at an average cost of, well, it's changed slightly because we did a stock adjustment. So it's recalculated that average landed cost again for us, which is exactly as we want to see. And now we've got a new total value of stock on hand. So this is our stock on hand report. This is probably one of the main reports that people would be in every day inside of Unleashed. Okay, so we'd like to show you some production process now. So you may be a business that needs to build items. So I've got a bill of material called Combo Box. And if I have a look at the Combo Box as an example, my Combo Box is made up of my animals, some candy, apple treats, and some biscuits there as well. And basically on a build I'm saying, look, each Combo Box is made up of 10 animals, 5 candy, apple treats, and 2 biscuit tins. And so when I do a build, it'll take 10 of those out of stock, 5 of those out of stock, and 2 of those out of stock. And the total sum of all the costs of those goods, and you can see the total costs there, will equal the total cost value of this particular Combo Box. So doing a bill of materials and an assembly of these is very simple. Simply go to the assembly screen, click Add, choose the product with which you're wanting to build, and choose the quantity that you're wanting to build. So if I just built 1 Combo Box as an example, hit 1 there, and you can see that I'm going to be creating 1 Combo Box there of $89.75. And if I complete this, that'll put 1 Combo Box into stock, and it'll take 10 animals out of stock, 5 candy apple treats out of stock, and 2 biscuit tins out of stock as well. So once again, now that I've completed that, if I go back to my stock on hand report and run that as at today again, we can see now I've got 156 animals on hand. You can see I've got a new product called Combo Box there, and one of those has been added at the average landed price of that particular item as well, which is the sum of all the costs of that build, which is really, really great. So that's the production module in a nutshell. You can do production inquiries and things like that as well, but that's how you produce goods out of raw materials inside of Unleashed. Really the last thing that you'd need to do is to sell goods out inside of Unleashed as well. So to do that, you do an invoice. So create an invoice by clicking Add, choosing the customer. There are lots of ways of choosing the customer, by the way. I use the drop-down box there. I could use the search function that'll give me a comprehensive search of all of my customers. You can see I actually haven't got that many in my demo system here. Or I can simply start typing their name if I know what their name is, and it'll inquire on the actual name field of all of my customers. So you can see Ace Outlets there. So I'll choose Ace Outlets that way. Okay, you can choose the salesperson. There's a salesperson field there if you like. The customer reference, if I've got a PO number that they want to use to reference this. There's lots of different dates here for you as well. There's an order date so that you can backdate or forward date orders as you may need. If you're going to create quotes, there's a quote expiry date here. Required dispatch date. So the order date and the dispatch date, they default to the same, but what if the dispatch date is a date some stage in the future? So you can choose what required dispatch date is there. You can store multiple delivery addresses against each of your customers as well. And they'll automatically come up here with a drop-down box if you've got them set. I haven't got a delivery address for this particular customer set, so I can simply start typing their delivery address in here. Delivery address details, let's see, 2 Home Street, Portland, that'll do, and auto-populate that information here. Now I've also got a discount field. So we give you the ability to populate a discount at the header level. So if you wanted to always give this person, let's say, a 10% discount on this complete order, you can put a header discount in there. We also give you the ability to be able to do line discounts as well, if you need to. So let's start selling some goods. So if I put my combo box shape sets there, we can see that I've got one available to sell. So I put one in there. Now I haven't got a price automatically set for this particular product, for this customer. So it's given me nothing there, so I can choose the price that I want to sell it. Let's just imagine that I want to sell this for $100 to this particular person. And I add that line to this order. So now on a line level on an invoice, I can see the quantity, the volume, the weight, the discount. If I wanted to give a discount on the line, I could populate that field there, the price that I'm wanting to sell it to, but more importantly, it gives you what your margin percentage is. So you can see I'm making 10.25% margin on this line, the combo box, based on the fact that I'm selling it for $100, and we know what the cost of those goods is, being around about $85. So you can see down the bottom at the header level, we can see, well, I'm going to be making $10.25 profit, which just so happens to be the margin percentage on this order as well. Now let's say that's not good enough and I want to sell it for a little bit more. I can change that and say, well, let's sell it for $150, and you can see straight away what the effect of that is having on my margin. Now I'm making 40% margin on this particular order. I'll be making $60 of profit there as well. So I can add as many lines on this as I like. I could be selling freight if I've got freight set up as a product. If I want to recover some freight, if I'm sending it to this particular person, I can add $10 of freight and shipping and handling onto this order as well. And you can see what the effect of all these items is having on the margins down the bottom. And I complete this order if I want to raise either a packing slip, an invoice, or not create any documentation, or even both, if you want to create both. Okay, so if we have a look at the sales invoice just for a second, in Unleashed you've got a single sales invoice layout with the ability to customize it with your logo. It has all the raw information that you'd expect on an invoice, including all the lines and the totals and whichever currency you are transacting in on the particular invoice. Now, as well as creating the invoice inside of Unleashed, that invoice has also been sent across into your accounting system. So we go into the accounting system and we have a look at the accounts receivable drafts this time. And we have a look at the drafts. And we have a look at that invoice that we just created for the combo box shape sets and the freight. You can see it's all coded to sales, which is the way that I've mapped it all and set it up. And you can see it's also in the currency and the default currency, which I have set as being US dollars. So I approve that. And I also have the option of emailing it out of here, being the accounting system, or I can print the PDF, and I've got other various invoice options available to me inside of Xero. So as well as doing that, so we've obviously done some sales, some other things have happened to do with this particular invoice. And in particular, what has happened is a sales invoice, a stock journal sales invoice. So we can see the reference to the sales invoice 006 there for Ace Outlets, but we have the cost of goods sold and the stock on hand, which is also changing, as you can see here. So we've got a stock movement, we've increased our cost of goods sold, and we've decreased our stock on hand by the cost of those goods. So you can see the integrity of the accounting data at a transactional level is being maintained and pushed across into Xero in real time. And simply approve that transaction, and then that'll go to the P&L and the balance sheet accordingly. Alright, so now inside of sales and the sales functions, as well as the margin report, so you can see all the different margin analysis that's going on with this particular thing. We can see in our margin report now, sales invoice 006 there that we've created for the combination box set, and you can see the profit that we've made there of $60.25. You can see the cost, you can see the sale, you can see the margins. So the margin analysis report, it's updated in real time for you. If you're only interested in a particular product, then you can certainly just select a particular product, hit run, and that'll just give you a breakdown of all of your sales for this particular product. So you can see them here, sales invoice 5 and sales invoice 6 for our combination box sets. Down the bottom we get the total profit again, the average profit of those goods, and you can see the total turnover of those goods as well at the granular level. Okay, there's another really good inquiry here, and that's the unit sales inquiry, and that gives you an analysis of all of your sales over time, broken down by month. So you can see the trends forming within your organisation of what items are selling in which month. And perhaps you may have seasonal products and things like that that you need to maintain, or even derive things like forecasts and purchasing levels from. Well, this is the first step to an accurate forecast, is knowing what your seasonal trends are of your particular products at any given time. And on any of these reports, as you can see here, you can run them, you can preview them, or you can export them as well. And just to show you the export function, if you do select export, what that will do is download that report and open it up into Excel for you. So if I just open this in Excel, you can see that report. Let's make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. That report there, so you can see all the information in that report now inside of Excel. So you can do things like average columns and graphing, and use Excel for your report engine in behind Unleashed to get all this information out of. Okay, so I mean, at a transactional level, at a process level, is Unleashed in a nutshell. It does integrate with online e-commerce shops like Magento as well, although I'm not going to go through that as part of this demonstration with you, but rather just show you a few other things to do with Unleashed. One of the important things is always access to information. Now, because we're an online in the cloud system, we look after your data for you. We back it up. It's on the servers. It's all firewall protected, as you would expect. But sometimes you just need access to your data and to be able to do additional things with it. Well, this is the beauty of Unleashed and what we enable you to do. We've got this export function that enables you to export any of the information that is inside of your Unleashed. So you can export all. Maybe you just want to export your customers or your suppliers or your products. So we've been looking at our products. So if I click Product Export, once again, a CSV file will get downloaded onto your machine. And if we open that up inside of Excel, we can see all of the information available to us about our products here in a CSV file format. So you can do things like maybe you want to do a price change. You want to change your default sale price from $5, say, to $7, and from $20 to $22, and things like that. You can start using Excel to start managing your inventory and doing bulk changes to your products, saving it, and then re-importing that information back into Unleashed. Once again, that's very, very simple to do. Simply going back to the settings and importing your products. So you can export your products, make some bulk changes, and then re-import them and have all those changes reflected inside of Unleashed in an instant. It's that powerful. Now obviously I'm a super user here, so I'm showing you everything. But if you're security conscious and you don't want staff to have access to various different things like maybe production or various different functions within the sales screen, Unleashed gives you multi-user access where you can define what people can see and what they can't see by nominating a user, assigning a role. You can see I've only got one here, super user, and then turning page access on and off for each of your staff members. So you can give them access to everything for sure, but if you wanted to turn things off, then you have the ability to be able to do that as well. Now, I have shown you Unleashed integrated with Xero, but just to let you know, it can be run standalone also, and there's a number of sites that are just using Unleashed as a standalone tool. And if that's the case and relevant for you, where you're just wanting to manage your supply chain without your debtors and your creditors, then you have an export account inquiry there that will give you accurate information on your stock on hand and cost of goods sold from any date that you select to be able to give you, to be able to update your accounting system with that information as you need. Now I have got a few questions coming through, so at this point I just want to go through some of those questions and answer them as best I can for you. So a question from Michelle, how does Unleashed handle point of sale? Okay, so Unleashed itself isn't a point of sale system. Unleashed is like the backbone of a point of sale system, and it'd be the inventory control system and behind it. In saying that, we do have a number of small retailers that are using Unleashed that do require inventory management, in which case you would set up various different customers. So you probably have a cash sale customer. So when you raise an invoice for someone that's walking up the street, you would raise an invoice and raise that to cash. So when that goes through to your Xero system, you'd be able to reconcile your transactions to the account cash, as obviously that information comes through from your FPOS provider and your various different other credit card providers and things like that. For advanced retail functions, we recommend Vend as a point of sale system, and we're looking to integrate with Vend within the coming months, and certainly there's actually quite a few hundred people that are wanting a combination of our inventory management and margin analysis and cost analysis type functions and supply chain management with a point of sale system such as Vend as the front end. So that's what we would recommend for those people. So can Unleashed handle online sales? It's a question from Bev. Well, the answer is absolutely. We are bronze partners with Magento. As an example, if I go to a Magento shop that I already have set up, garethberry.com/Magento. Now this is just a shop which I have set up to test various different systems. So once again, it's an online e-commerce shop where you go and you buy some goods and things like that. Now the flow of an e-commerce integration with Magento is such that when someone goes online and they purchase some goods, once that invoice is created and accepted, that information it's just telling me that I've lost connection with the web server. I'm not sure if that's true or not. That information will flow directly through to Unleashed. Now in Unleashed, we've got a few functions here to make that system as seamless as we possibly can for you. Now I'll just go to my invoices and show you, if I go to invoices all, and just show you this as an example. We can see our invoice number sequence here. We've got all these invoices that start with SI. They're all the invoices that I created inside of Unleashed. I've got this invoice number, however, here that's quite different. Now that invoice was created inside of my online shop and then integrated with Unleashed. And that information flows straight through to Unleashed for you to be able to accept this, calculate the margins and the management of your inventory as we've gone through, and then push that invoice through to Xero as well so that you can reconcile your transactions. We have some users that are using Magento that are doing hundreds and hundreds of transactions every single day. So for those people that don't want to go through every single transaction and just complete it, we've got some smarts in there around the batch complete function where it'll batch up all of your sales for a day for the day and send them across into Xero. Okay, another question. How good is support for Unleashed? I'd say that's very good. The support that we provide is we've got a model where we like to train professional advisors, the feet on the street in your area if you like, and they'll be the experts in the first point of sale. So anyone of the CFO on-call partners should be able to support you with your Unleashed. And behind that, as a catch-all, however, we do provide email support for all our users, and the phone generally rings as well. So we do like providing as good a support as we possibly can, as well as support through email and those sorts of things. We've also got a forum of information for people to be able to self-serve their support. So you can search for your support by simply saying, well, I want to know everything to do with Xero and Unleashed, typing in Xero, and you can see all the articles where we've written training or support, or there's a video on anything to do with Xero. It comes up there. If I want to see more transactions, you can see more and more again, and you can keep going to your heart's content. So you can search information there from the search bar. We can scroll down and we've got all these forums where we're getting a really good community of people helping each other as well. So we've got people posting questions and requesting features and letting us know what they're wanting. We're also saying, hey, if we find an issue, we'll post it up there so that everyone knows it. And also the community, things like FAQs, integrations with various different people. We've talked about the Vend POS integration. So if you wanted more information on that, then we've got articles on here, and we've got a community of people here that are asking a whole lot of questions there. So you, by all means, we encourage you to join that community and be a voice online. We keep an eye on it and try and remain as active and answer people's questions as much as possible in this online forum and community. So support, hopefully very good. So what is the cost of Unleashed? Unleashed is really, it's as cheap as chips. If you ask me, it's far too cheap. If we click on Australia, on the pricing currency, we've got a tiered pricing model here where it ranges from $35 per month for a single user, up to $95 if you're a 10-user site, or even if you're a 20-user site, 145 Australian dollars a month. And we do have users that want an unlimited number of users, and they've got a price point to match there as well. So you can upgrade and downgrade as your business grows or shrinks, and really you just fall in one of those buckets there. So Unleashed is either, or ranging from $35 up to $295 per month. All the upgrades and everything we do with inside Unleashed is all included. There's no maintenance fees or other additional fees or support fees from Unleashed on top of that. There's just the one price there, so there's no bill shock or anything like that at the end of every month. Another question here, quite a long one here. Does Unleashed have the ability to allocate stock to a particular picking location in a warehouse? Okay, so we're talking about picking and packing functions there and warehouse management. Warehouse management and pick and pack, bin locations, and really the whole management of a warehouse that goes along with that is something which we're not going to release in this simple version of Unleashed. It's something that we're definitely doing. It is on our roadmap for release as soon as early or even first quarter next year. So people will be able to allocate stock to a bin location and even have replenishment levels within bin location and have warehouse pickers, if you like, and being able to monitor their progress and get efficiency so you can see how long certain things are going to take to pick based on bin locations and things like that. So I mean, around that warehouse management, it's really, it goes far beyond what a $35 per month price point would dictate. It's something we're absolutely doing. It's on our roadmap and something that you can expect to see starting from the first quarter next year, and then we'll obviously enhance that functionality over time as well. But that's certainly going to be a different product which we're creating, which will be a big upgrade to Unleashed. It will be Unleashed with the advanced inventory management and advanced manufacturing and ordering and supply chain functions that you'd expect out of an ERP type system. Okay, does Unleashed inventory control integrate with Quickbooks is another question. Well, the answer is no, we don't integrate with Quickbooks. We are definitely going to look at integration with Quickbooks in the future, but for now, all of the users that are using Unleashed and Quickbooks, what they do is basically run it as a standalone system, so they're not integrated, and use the reporting functions within inside of Unleashed to create the cost of goods sold and the stock on hand journals. because in an accounting system really there's only a few things which you're going to manage. Stock on hand at a current asset level, and cost of goods sold at a P&L level. And with our account inquiry, we give you that information broken down by, well, you could run it by day, by week, by month, by quarter if it's not that important to you, to be able to give you what your opening stock, your purchases, your completed sales, your closing stock, and your change in your stock on hand balances at any given time. So all our Quickbooks users that are using Unleashed, generally speaking, they're also using an e-commerce website such as Magento. So the cash-based businesses, where they're receiving cash, but they need to manage their inventory, their ins and outs in the supply chain, which is all very nice and easy to do. And to get the journals, the appropriate journals inside of Unleashed, they simply run the account inquiry report, however often they need, to be able to give them their accurate stock on hand balances and cost of goods sold balances for their P&L and the balance sheet. All right. That doesn't seem to be any more questions, so look, thank you guys very much, and thank you for the interactiveness of it. I'll hand over to Sue to finish the presentation.
Thanks, Gareth. That was great. Just like to make before we finish off today, a brief offer to the audience that are with us today. So thanks for all your fantastic questions and for participating. If you think of any other questions, we'll be happy for one of our CFO on call advisors to speak with you after the webinar, and they'll be happy to have a chat with you about how Unleashed might be able to improve your efficiency and your performance in your stock management, and also how it can save you money with your lower upfront software costs and reduce lots of data entry time for you, and obviously improve your profit and cash flow. And the other offer that we'd like to make today is a free copy of our book, The 7 Key Numbers That Drive Profit and Cash Flow. So there's some really fantastic ideas and ways in there that you can really reduce the number of days that your stock is sitting in the store, costing you precious working capital. So we'll be in contact with you afterwards to make that offer to you. So I'd like to thank Gareth again for joining us today, and thanks to the audience for your questions and for participating. And we will be running other webinars, so we'll let you know what other subjects are coming up. So we're not too far off 1 o'clock. We've made pretty good time today. So thanks again for attending, and have a great rest of your day. And goodbye.